Don't know, I don't know. I'm looking, yeah.
Marc Clarke, that's classic. I love it.
And welcome to Wednesday on the Marc Clarke Show. Bootsy Vegas is in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mark.
What's going on, Bootsy? Now, Bootsy, you have a son, correct?
Yes, I do.
You don't have a daughter?
No, and after yesterday, I never want one.
Well, we got on the line a brother. We got a special event tomorrow evening. I'll be a part of the panel. My man who put it together, one of my friends forever, amazing dad, who's a dad, a mom, a girl dad and a boy dad. David Miller joins us. Soon to be Dr. Miller joins us. What's up, Doc? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. How you doing?
We're good, man. Getting ready for tomorrow and this amazing panel. So, David, tell us what the event's about and what's going down.
So super quickly, Mark, I'm actually in the car taking my dad to his doctor's appointment. But we are having an important conversation tomorrow hosted by the historic Reginald F. Lewis Museum in Baltimore at 7 p.m. Thursday, March 17th. And it's really about having this conversation about the importance of dads in the lives of their daughters. I'm actually doing my dissertation, a doctoral dissertation on looking at the impact that Black fathers have on the social and emotional development of our daughters. Too often, Mark, we talk about fathers and sons, but we don't talk about how we pour into our daughters and how we help shape the lives of our daughters and how important a dad's role is in the social and emotional development of our girls. So it's a critically important conversation. It's virtual. We got a really dynamic panel. We have 4 brothers who are in different stages of that fathering process. You know, Marc Clarke has older daughters, but then we have some brothers who will be on the line who have younger daughters. I think one of the brothers, the youngest daughter represented, is about 13. And then we also have a woman's perspective. We have Dr. Kay Wise Whitehead, a distinguished professor at Loyola University in Baltimore and also a radio host on WEAA radio. She was a daddy's girl and is going to talk about how her dad poured into her life.
Well, David, look, man, I'm so glad that you plugged me into this. You know, I love talking, and I love talking about these baby girls, man. And as you mentioned, our girls are growing so fast, man. But so we look forward to it tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. It is virtual. And just, I'll give you more information. David, get dad to the doctor, brother. You out there serving as always. We appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Mark, and to the brother in the building. Spread the word, man, because this is a really important conversation. You know, Chris Rock joked about this several years ago. If you want to keep your daughter off the pole, the lives of dads and how we pour into dads and how we help dads understand the sacred bond between dads and daughters is so critically important, man. But thanks a lot, man.
Absolutely, definitely, man. Thanks, David, and see you tomorrow again. David Miller joining us, and Bootsy. It's so interesting. Have you being a man who has run through so many women, you know how important it is for dads to.
Okay, first of all, no, that is incorrect. But no, and you know what? I don't think I should joke about it because one of the main reasons why I do what I do is to serve females that may not be in a situation where they have fathers or situations. True story, Mark. I have never told this story to nobody.
Okay, wait a minute. Listen up, everybody.
All right, so
Bootsyism.
yeah, two stories. The real reason why I will not leave Deanwood radio broadcast, this like was really a game changing me, is that I had 5 students one day. They were all females, and they were all sitting at my table in Deanwood. This may have been my 3rd year, so we had just started sending kids to college. I had 2 uh, Virginia Recreation Center department, county, in Maryland asked me to leave, and these 5 girls sat at the table for about an hour talking about not having a father. My father was nothing but a sperm donor. I'm still gonna make it without my father, and I had to like walk out and cry. I literally walked out, and that's when I decided, yeah, I'm never leaving. Like, and the great thing is, all 5 of them girls are in college, and I talked to 2 of them yesterday. One go to Benedict College, one go to Stevenson College, and so as much as I joked and all that, you know what I mean? Because I know I may joke about this. Now I definitely do not take that serious. Another thing is I don't like people calling me dad. I don't let them call me. I just be like, hey, call me your new big uncle. You know, like I love when you was telling Sky Money, aka Moneybag Sky, that's your uncle over there. You know what I mean? Like I don't do the dad thing, but yeah, you know what I mean. So I do know how important that is, and I do fully understand the value of a older male presence in a lot of these females' lives to protect them. So you know what I mean. So as much as I'm probably gonna joke today, let me get this one little serious moment. I definitely don't joke with it, and it's interesting because I've had and I don't know if I told you this. I actually call and not harass. Maybe I use another word. I call and check up on my female students at college a lot, to the point where I made one of them throw out a guy out of their room before. I told you that, right? That I made him throw him out of the room. Like he gotta get out of the room. Like don't have him answer the phone when I call no more. Like so no. So I definitely take this serious. I think these discussions are really important, and the purpose for those things are really important, because sometimes we do need to put this back in perspective of how we need to protect and help these young females guide. And while I'm on here, shout out to Samantha. She's checking in. Samantha, we love you, Samantha.
We love you, Samantha. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do something selfish, Bootsy. I'm gonna, of course, shine the light on my kids because they grow up so fast.
As you should.
Couple moments from the kids, you know, doing their thing. My girls, I got 3 for those who don't know: Sydney, Skylar, Spencer, my babies. Here they are.
I just want to flow. When you stay forever, you can be strong, and it will only be better. You will be together through the days and nights. Don't worry, 'cause everything's gonna be alright. People keep talking, thinking say what they like, but all I know is everything's gonna be alright. No one can get in the way of what I'm feeling. No one.
And so, of course, you know how it happens, Bootsy. These kids, they grow like weeds. This is me and Sydney at her 16th birthday, which was now, what, 5 or 6 years ago.
Wow.
Just like that, she's 21. And
Wow.
it's so interesting. I'm gonna call her today. So Skylar's home, and then Spencer, of course, is 17. She's a junior, and Sydney's a junior in college, and then Skylar's home. She's a freshman, sophomore. But I'm gonna call Sydney today. I just texted her this morning, hey, what's a good time to talk? Because like you said, Bootsy, just a couple little things, a couple reminders for just put something on their minds. And and it's funny because I've learned with the kids and being in a house full of women, I've learned not to instantly say something. You know what I mean? I've learned over time though. I've learned that sometimes it's better to address something and not address something, right? You know what I mean?
Elaborate on that.
So in other words, instead of going through a specific thing, I'll say this. I'm calling Cindy today. Talk first of all. You start off with all the good. Hey, baby, love you, miss you, so proud of you, doing great things, all these things, right? Then I'm gonna say something, and it can apply. You know how it is. It can apply to a whole bunch of things, but it can zero in, and the person will understand. So I'm gonna say, Sydney, because we had this conversation years ago when she was young, and what's up, cuz? What's up, G? I see you out there. We had this conversation because one thing my mother, not one thing, but it's something my mother did, I think, Bootsy, that was so powerful, and I get it. And watching Kanye West's mom, I think, well, and my cousin, Valencia, sometimes when you just have one, especially I think in our community, you prepare them for the world, and you really are their backstop, and you kind of like, you can shower them with praise and support, you know. And I think as an only child, my mom, we didn't have the money, but I got showered with that. So I knew who I was early on. And Bootsy, you work with young people. When you know who you are, the cracks and all that kind of stuff, it really doesn't affect you as a kid as much, because what you start to realize is most kids don't know who they are. As a matter of fact, the loudest kids, the most off the chain kids, the ones who are doing the most, usually don't have love at home, don't have attention at home, they're trying to figure out who they are. But when you know who you are, you start paying attention, you be like, and then the kids, it's weird, they start following you or they leave you alone, because the fact that you know who you are, they can't really get to you. They can't really, you're impenetrable. You know what I mean? And in relationships, I think in relationships, it's kind of the same way. You attract, if you're insecure, I don't care how fine you are, I don't care how beautiful you are, men, women, boy, girl, whatever. If you're insecure, you're going to attract someone who exploits that insecurity because they can see it. And those kind of people, the people who are take advantage of you, they only take advantage of people they can take advantage of. And so they know they can see you and say, oh, this person is weak. I can play to their weakness. And they throw stuff out there to see if you're listening. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a beautiful woman, right? And a guy's like, that they point out your weakness. Okay, see you, blah, 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 blah. And if you hear it, if you respond to it, they got you. Yeah, it's the oldest trick in the book. But again, that's one of the hardest things to understand. So my conversation with my daughter is going to focus on, number one, who you're letting in your life, right? Always be wary. Always look to character. Always, from friends to boyfriends to girlfriends to family members, you always look to the character piece. If somebody has questionable character, they really probably shouldn't be in your circle.
What is a trigger? What is a trigger character flaw for you?
A character flaw is somebody doing something that just shows bad character. So I basically, Bootsy, if we're talking and you say you're going to call, you say you're going to come by, you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, to me, Allison hates this. It's my check mark system. After a couple check marks, if you're a woman, Bootsy, after a couple check marks, I'm not pursuing you anymore. You're not pursuing anymore. You're not that person to me anymore. You're somebody that I have fun with. And I do it with my friends too. People who are my friends, I do the same thing. If you have shaky character, you're only going to get so close. I'm not kicking you all the way out necessarily, but you're just not going to get that close because your character's shaky, and it doesn't have to be extreme. Now, and that's what's funny. It goes to show you, like, if it's extreme, that's coming from somebody who's used to some craziness in their life. Our kids are not used to craziness in their life because we created an environment where there's no craziness. I was not used to no craziness in my life. So if you come in, so if somebody came in crazy, what you going?
Loud.
You're not even.
That's a character flaw. Yeah.
It's not even a consideration because I don't have craziness in my life. I don't invite craziness in my life. I don't care how fine you are. And that's the other part.
Hold on, hold on. I don't know about that because you let me hang with you. Go ahead. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Only so far. No,
Okay.
no. So it's like, but again, the key point is you have to know who you are, though, and you have to stand on who you are first. Because Allison does. Some people I have around me got shaky character, but I only let them get so close. You know what I'm saying? Because I know who I am. The lies or the whatever or the tricks, it ain't gonna work because I already know. I know what I'm doing. I know who I am. But when you're young, it's hard to know who you are. It's hard to not be seduced by pressure. And people like that. And so, my conversation is basically that, Bootsy. I'm not being specific. I'm just going to say, Cindy, remember we had this conversation when you were a kid and you wanted to be friends with this person. And I told you, when you're friends with somebody, you are now inviting all their craziness into your world. So, one of this guy that she was going to be friends with, he was 16 and had a child. And he was fighting on Facebook all the time. So I said, okay. And so she thought I didn't want him in her life because I was being bougie, because economically he was in a different place. I said, that's not it. That's not it. This is my issue. My issue is he's fighting on Facebook. He has a child. He's 16 years old. Are you ready as a friend to have all that comes with that as your friend? His baby mama drama, the fights, all those kind of things. When he calls you and says, can you help me? Are you willing to do that? Do you want to invite that into your life? If the answer is no, you're talking about me. What kind of friend would you be? So, so it was a conversation that made her think, because again, who are you inviting into your life?
That's a fact.
Yeah, the
energy, the circumstances, all that it comes with it. Yeah.
And the stuff about like, you ain't never been in a fight. Why would you be with somebody who fights all the time? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Vivi, Kevin says, you almost called me crazy yesterday. No, Kevin, I didn't almost call you crazy.
No, you almost called me crazy.
Well, I'm saying crazy in love. I love y'all family members. Miranda says, I always told my two daughters that some of their circle is showing shaky character and always starting drama and being disrespectful. They need not to be a close friend, right? What's next? And I tell you what, my cousin knows I call Valencia Vivi. I had no problem telling my friends, no, I ain't doing that. And no, I'm not going to go with you. It's like but that was a kid. And so some grown people have a hard time. It's like, if your boy is abusing his wife or girlfriend, or it's inappropriate with women, should he really be your boy? Are you just going to let that just go around unchecked? Now, what's interesting, Bootsy, is a lot of times with guys, we never see that side of that person. So we didn't even know what was going on. And that's something that I got hip to later on. I didn't know this person was a crazy person. I ran into this person who's almost a family member, and he's a high-profile, super successful lawyer. Man, I was talking to somebody. They were like, yo, he tried to choke out my girl, and the police are coming to get him next week. I was like, what? And Bootsy, she sent me the pictures. So I just saw him chopping it up. Ha, ha, ha. We about to do dinner. We about to do lunch. She sends me a picture of a girl with the bruise marks around her neck, and he's a high-profile lawyer. So he's, you know what I'm saying? Had no idea.
So I'm going to tell you what I teach my students, what I tell my students, you know what I mean? Because I always give my students a conversation before they leave to go to college. And I've given 30 of them. The first rule I tell them, Mark, I say, look, let me tell you this now. Friendship is something you should earn. There should be steps taken before you consider somebody your friend. You don't give your friendship away. You don't give your love away, your trust. There should be some things that they should do to earn your trust. Do not go there walking in blindly thinking you can trust somebody that you don't know. There should be some steps. So just be careful on who you call a friend. Use that friend word really lightly. And I always tell them, trust and friendship is something that you should earn. There should be some steps taken. Just don't be so willy-nilly say, okay, you're my friend now. And, as I learn that part, or I teach that can help a lot of these characteristics that you'll see earlier, because, you got to be careful with that stuff. And but see, I don't have daughters, so I can only imagine what that is. And I know one issue that I have been struggling with recently is the fact that I've had kids that were 14 and 15, and now they're 22, 23, and 24. And my conversations have to, vary and different from them as well, which is a whole nother thing that you don't think about if you don't have daughters. If I did not teach them, I would not think about that at all.
Yeah.
Like I have to have adult conversations with them now. Like I can't call them. They ain't the little girl that was here. So these are all the
Oh,
things that I think that the thing that you guys gonna do tomorrow is really important on to have these discussions because none of this is easy navigating as a father or mentor.
well, so one of the things again, I'll be talking about tomorrow, father daughters. That's what we're talking about. I'm going to tell you a couple of things, Bootsy, that I did in life that I'm not saying it's for everybody, right? But I will say that I feel like it worked for me. And with my daughters, me and Allison have a little bit different philosophy as far as this goes. So dating, right?
Mm.
I did not have a girlfriend until I was in my 20s.
Mm.
I did not have
You
a
started late, huh?
girlfriend.
Started a little late, huh, Mark? Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't have a girlfriend until I was in my 20s. And for me, it worked because a couple things. And so my oldest has had a boyfriend almost 2 years now. My youngest has had a boyfriend, and then my middle child has not. This is how it worked well for me. So this whole radio thing and this passion, whatever I wanted to be, whatever I wanted to do, one thing I did not want is to have to answer to anybody as I'm pursuing what I want to pursue. So I hopped into this media thing early on. I mean, I did the announcements announcing in high school, in grade school, in middle school, in grade school, I did announcements in 4th grade. I did announcements in 7th and 8th grade. I did high school games in high school. I went to vocational school in media in high school. I worked at a radio station right after high school, junior college, and then I worked at a real station in college, blah, blah, blah. So all this time, I played in bands too, right? So all this time, I'm grinding, and I worked, and I had a job. I did not have a girlfriend, so I never had to answer to anybody. I just had to do me. You know what I'm saying?
Was that by choice or you calculatedly you purposely kept it that way?
Oh, it was definitely by choice. It was like I put off the whole having a girlfriend thing.
Not saying that you were the ugly duckling too. I just want to say that. I just want you to know that. Okay.
No, I wasn't the ugly duckling. So basically, I was the guy. I was the nice guy. I was the nice guy. I was the popular guy. Had a lot of female friends. So the girls, the girls that I liked, I went over and hey, and they didn't like me. I kept it moving. So I had the female friend piece. So I think that's another part. So I think what happens is when you have female friends or male friends, it's almost like that's almost like having a girlfriend, in that you have a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Some guys have girlfriends but don't have relationships with women, and that including their wife. You know what I mean? It's like they deal with women in a way that's it's not a relationship. It's a sexual relationship, but it's not a real relation. It's not a human being relationship. Right. So therefore, that's how they deal with women, or they deal with the opposite sex. And so it doesn't really grow their relationship with women, right? And so for me, I compartmentalized it, Bootsy. So my first girlfriend, I'm 20-something years old. She had a child. I was working in Huntsville, Alabama. I made time to have a girlfriend. And what for me, it worked because I didn't have any of the drama. I didn't have any of the heartbreak. When I went back to my reunions, I didn't have to hide from anybody. I didn't have to regret seeing anybody. And so for me, it worked because I think, like I see with my daughter now, you're in college with a boyfriend. Isn't that the time you're supposed to find out who you are? Isn't that the time you're supposed to experiment, to find out what kind of person you like, what kind of person you don't like? What do what you like in a man, what you don't like in a man? To me, isn't that what life is about? Like feeling that out as opposed to being locked down with somebody? I don't know, and so for me, that's how I did. I look at Vivi. My cousin is always handsome. I compartmentalized, Bootsy, and I don't know. It might not be a good thing, but I did. I compartmentalized it, right? And so for me, that was that segment of life, Now for others, they go through and because the heartache is real, my dear youngest daughter is 17. She's been through it. She's been through the heartache. And to be honest, I think some people get lost in the heartache. I think some people don't recover from a broken heart for years.
That's a fact.
And it creates it creates it makes it tough for them to deal with people intimately for a while, you know. And so I'm just saying, for me, it was like, I don't want to deal with that right now. I'm going to deal with it when I'm more mature and I'm older, and then things like that. And what Kevin's saying, if I'm keeping it real, Kevin's saying, you know, like the college around 30 years old. Okay. So yeah. So then having kids at a later date, me and Allison having kids at a later date, the advantage of that is you know who you are. You know what I mean? And so when you had the kids, you're ready to live that life. You didn't sacrifice. I dated my first girlfriend, like I said, who I had, she was 20-some years old. She had a baby, and she really did struggle with that. In fact, she was so dead set on Bootsy because she had a kid so early. When she turned, as soon as she could, she got her tubes tied. Which again, that was a reaction from being like you got robbed early in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And so versus, like I said, versus, you know, me and Allison were like 32, 33.
Glad you got away, bro.
Huh?
I'm glad you got away from Huntsville.
Well, I mean, no, she's a beautiful person, amazing person.
Oh, I'm sure
amazing
she is.
Mom. But you know, again, the relationships can make you you know, that way. They could bitter, scar you, cold, they can hurt you. But I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying what worked for me. And so obviously my kids don't listen to me. But you know, and so the father-daughter thing, I'm saying all this to say is I get ready for this thing tomorrow with father-daughters, and I have, you know, 20-year-old, 19, and now 17. I'm sorry, 21, 20, and now 17. My question, Bootsy, is the sexuality question. Basically, how did you deal with that? What advice? And then of course some great times I had. And so I'll answer the question about that now. Sexuality with my advice is you got to be honest. Okay, my cousin said my son's heartache sent him to depression. His mental health was not fully recovered. Yeah. My husband and I also had our 2 daughters later. Yeah, I mean, it's so, you know, it's so funny, Bootsy. So because I was, as you cracked on me, the ugly duckling or Mr. Goody Two-Shoes.
I didn't say that.
The funny part, Bootsy, was, so you know how it is. All your boys are having sex. All your boys are getting it in. I was not. So I did not know the magic of sex. I didn't get it. You know what I mean? You know, and so
it was tough out in Springfield, huh?
What'd you say?
I said it was tough out in Springfield, huh? Okay, I got you.
I passed. I could have, but I was like, I didn't. The girls who wanted to give it to me, I looked at it like I did not want to do it just because you want to give it to me because I'm your friend and I'm feeling you like that and I don't want to do that, right?
Respect.
And so that's how I looked at it.
So, I was never that noble, but go ahead. I love you for that.
And so what I realized when I did have sex, which was before I had my first girlfriend, by the way.
Congratulations.
It was like, that's when I was like, oh, this is why my friends are crazy. This is why my friends are crazy. It's like, you can't, they're just obsessed. I get it. I got it. I was like, okay, Bootsy, now I understood. Because up to that point, I did not get it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, but now after I got it. But also,
see what you did there. Okay, I got it.
You know what I mean? After I got it. And so, yeah, it became, okay, this is why they were so crazy. This is why my friend was sneaking women in his house at night, his parents' house at night. This is why when we went out of town, I was that guy who got stuck with the other girl, just conversation while they're in another room. I'm in there. So what do you like to do? You know, it's like, yo.
What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? You know?
Right. They were like, who is this guy? Bootsy, I was asking real quick. So what do you like? What are your hobbies? They was like, I got stuck with this guy. I don't want to have no conversation, sir.
It's so many jokes I can go here, but I'm not going to
do it. Bootsy, go ahead.
This is a family show, but I'm not going to do that to you. But I do think it is admirable the fact that at a young age you had that discipline and understanding of it, because sometimes people will let that lead their other head lead them places and not figure it out till later. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that's great that you had the discipline and the understanding that sometimes it's not even worth it, because we've all done some things that we look back afterwards and say that really was not worth it. You know what I mean?
Well, the funny part was There you go. Look at Kevin. The Lang said, Kevin cracks me up. Kevin used the big word, then he came down on this one. He was like, Kevin's breaking this down. No, yeah, I mean, the funny part, Bootsy. Well, never mind. I won't go into that. But at the end of the day,
yeah. Let's not go that far, as I know these dad jokes are just coming real soon. I don't want nothing. I need to be in everybody's good graces after that text I sent yesterday to you and your wife.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So having daughters, and again, tomorrow we're talking about daddy daughters. Tomorrow at 7:00. Please check it out. Having daughters, it is interesting how, like they always say the first relationship a woman has with a man is her father. Absolutely. I look at Allison and her dad. I look at my kids, and with 3 different girls, and it's 3 different relationships, it's 3 different same household, but the personalities make it different.
Wow.
Everybody's approach is different. My youngest daughter, again, she had a boyfriend and stuff, and it was like against my, she didn't go against me, but I would have preferred it not to, because so young or whatever. And it was interesting. It was a classic setup where he was a good guy in my eyes. I didn't know the other part. You know what I mean? I didn't know the other part. Didn't tell.
They always a good guy. And
exactly.
Trust me, when they walk in your house and see how tall you see your actions, they like, oh, they're gonna be a real good guy. But
Yeah.
But,
and then it's I just think, again, when you're trying to figure out who you are,
right,
it's easier to do that when you're not figuring out who somebody else is.
Right.
And
you know what I do?
think also, again, just as a human being, that's what women. So what women don't understand about guys who are on the path to something, a lot of times, let's keep it real in society. The first part is being successful as a man is a huge part, right?
Right.
And so that's why I think guys can be in sexual relationships to get off, but be focused on what they're really trying to do with their career. Then you have guys who are focused on their career, and they look at it like, well, I can't deal with that part until I deal with that part. I think guys have sometimes a tendency to compartmentalize. I think sometimes that's why with women, if a guy's not ready and he says it's not you, a lot of times that is true. When he says I'm not ready, he's saying I'm not ready to have to answer to you, and
check in,
or
run everything through you, not have freedom, not being able to be a free thinker when I'm on a path to something. So no, I totally get it. I'm gonna tell you another thing that I do with my students. I preach this a lot with my female students. I preach to them the possible consequences of what could happen. Like, it's one thing to be young and have these relationships, but do you know what will happen if you have a baby? Do you know what happened if you're in a situation? Like, I always try to preach what the end game and the consequences could potentially be, because when you're doing stuff like that, you are technically an adult. When you're in a situation, like, I tell students in my class, if you go out and hit somebody with a car, you're gonna be charged as an adult. If you go out here and jump somebody and you and your friends stop, you're gonna be charged as an adult. And if you have a baby at 16 or 17, you're essentially going to be an adult. So I always try to preach the consequences of what this could bring, because I don't know if that is all. I know we got to, and I'm not saying in general, but I know we got to be nice. Sometimes we got to try to give it to them in a way that we think that they can digest it. But sometimes you just need to let them know what the consequences and where this could possibly lead them, and let them know where this could derail them. That's what I do.
You have to. You have to. It's so interesting. So it's interesting. Kevin and Vivi are breaking it down. Kevin says, can a relationship survive sex? The short answer is yes. A sexless marriage can survive, but it can come at a cost. One partner is the other is uninterested. Lack of sex is intimacy and connection, feelings, even deathly. True. Intimacy. I think intimacy is more important than sex in relationships, just because of intimacy and that connection,
Right.
And I think for men, especially as we get older, I'm 55, hey, your penis may or may not work, but the intimacy is always there, and so that's something that, again, we don't really talk about. Vivi, I told my son, besides to wrap it up, yes, once you start having sex, your lower half is going to start making decisions for you. Be careful, be smart. Well, yeah, when you're young, like you just said, Bootsy, you just said this, you're now in an adult game, and then it could be a child, and that child can change the trajectory of your whole life. Because that's one thing, Bootsy, don't you agree? One thing, all the cliches that people say, the one that does hold true is when you have a child, your life is never the same. That's the one I notice. I always say that. That's my dad joke to everybody. But that's
you know what the second one is?
For me, it was the one.
You know what the second one is though? That I didn't know until I was in the situation. Was when somebody said it's cheaper to keep her.
Oh yeah.
Now, and I know that could come off a little, you know what I mean? But, in some situations, you better try to make it work, you know what I mean? Because you'll be working 2 jobs or 3 jobs and you'll never be able to rest or whatever, you know what I mean? So,
well, and let's keep it real. It's almost like It's Cheaper to Keep Her is a great song, right?
Right.
But the reality and a perspective of the patriarchal side of things, which is the man's perspective. Oh, it's cheaper to keep her. But the deeper meaning is, like you said, the deeper meaning is if you made a human being with somebody else.
That's a fact.
This is not a casual relationship. You have now created a human being that you both have to figure out how to navigate. So therefore, you guys should do everything that's possible to make this child have the best chance of living an amazing life since you decided to have sex and make this person. So that's
what I meant to say.
Right. So that's what it's not a throwaway. It's not a lyric. It's truth. And I witnessed this. We've all witnessed it. People have kids and you get a divorce, and you look back on it and you both say, maybe we should have spent more time trying to figure this thing out. Now, Kevin, another good point. What does it mean to figure out who you are? In order to find ourselves, we must seek out our own personal sense of purpose. I mean, separating our own points of view. Here's the thing, Kevin, great point. And again, we don't talk about this when we talk about marriage, right? Marriage means asking ourselves our values, to that was finally we believe in. Marriage, to me, back to you say, Bootsy, about cheaper to keep her. That's kind of what we say, happy life, happy wife. What it says to me, when you're getting married, what you're saying is, I'm choosing to spend the rest of my life with this person. So my wants and my needs may or may not be the most important thing now because I'm married. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. My husband, my wife isn't doing what I want it done in the bedroom. My husband, my wife don't have a job. My husband, my wife had a mental break. Okay, but I'm married. I signed up. This is what I signed up for.
For better or for worse.
And then when people signing up is marriage. I didn't sign up for this. Yes, you did. You signed up for it.
That's fact.
What if that person ain't fine no more? What if that person gained 300 pounds? What if that person changed? That's what you signed up for. And so I think that's the part. And then like Kevin said, well, who am I? A lot of times we get married and we don't know who we are.
That's a fact.
And the part that's so crazy is, and who you are now ain't going to be who you are 10 years from now.
Man.
And that's what makes marriage so tough because it's not the same person you met at the club 10, 20 years ago. No, this person now has two toes off his foot and suffers from diabetes and can't can't hit it like he did 20 years ago. Do you still love him? Do you still?
That's a fact, man.
So these are things that we don't talk about.
Yeah, we need to take in before we move forward because I have seen situations where people did not think the whole thing out. You know what I mean? Because I think sometimes what I've noticed is, and I've seen some great situations where I've seen people really were great for each other, where I always say, what are you going to be like when it gets tough? When things ain't going great, you know what I mean? It's always the cost-benefit analysis. You know what I mean? It's the cost. No, that's a real thing, though. Like I always say, it's the cost-benefit. It's the cost of me venturing that's going to be worth the benefit for my future. Because as we all see, you've had health challenges. I've had health challenges. You know what I mean? And I can sit there and tell you that if I would have chose other people and had stage 4 cancer, I can honestly tell you, I know I wouldn't be here.
Wow.
Like, no, I know it. Like I know that for a fact. And so it's so interesting that maybe these discussions of thinking long term of what we said in the beginning. What characteristics do you see when you were talking to your oldest daughter or whatever? But do you see those characteristics in your mate moving forward? Do you see that as a team? Because I always tell my students this: team stands for together, everyone achieves more. You got to understand that when you're dealing with a team, together everyone achieves more, and just have that. Because when you got somebody who wants to go to the club more than hanging out with you, or you got somebody who want to go on girl trips more than she want to do family vacations, you can already see it right now. You know what I mean? You can already see where this is going to go. So it's really interesting, and I just wish people had these discussions that you're
before.
having right now. Yeah, yeah.
Well, and it's funny
because you never know.
It's funny because, and again, we'll be a brief show today, but yeah, man, I had to laugh because I remember I was dating this young lady, and a lot of times I think people don't take life seriously and they don't take relationships seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I remember I told you I got my flag system, Bootsy. My flag system, looking back, the flag, it's been there a long time, Bootsy. And again, the flag system doesn't mean that, you know, it doesn't mean that the situation is whatever. It just means I saw a flag, right? Never forget it. I'm dating this young lady. Her daughter, the sister has a baby.
That seems to be a theme for you as well, but go ahead though.
Right. What the hell? So we're dating, and she picks up her sister's baby to take with us. It's a beautiful afternoon, right?
Family time. Okay.
Family time. The sister says, okay, here's her bottle, here's her Pampers, here's her stuff, here's her food. Don't let other people hold her, and don't let her eat other food. So we're out. We go. I mean, I think it was a family situation. So it wasn't like it was foreigners or people, you know, whatever. But it was a family situation. We took the baby with, and you know how it is when you arrive with a baby. Oh, let me hold the baby. So first of all, she's letting her hold the baby, and so the last part though, Bootsy, somebody gave her some food, and so of course, flag. Now the fact that I remember this maybe says something about me, but Bootsy. Flag.
Man.
Now, and so then, well, I'm dating this young lady. Then we've been dating, and a friend of mine came to town. And we're all gonna go to lunch. Right? So we're walking out the door to the car. She has a book in her hand. I'm like, what you doing with the book? He said, well, you know, I know y'all gonna be talking, so flag.
Wow. And I ain't even be interested in nothing y'all saying. I'm just gonna be here.
So
wow.
I say all that to say,
wow.
I guess I took those things seriously. You know what I mean?
And you were smart too as well. So
you know what I mean?
Job.
Because like you say, a lot of people, people just don't be paying attention, right? They just be going around, da-da-da-da-da. And so then you're married to this person, and you're complaining about stuff that you should have been noticing the whole time.
Right.
You know, and that's so when I have my conversations with my daughter, I say all that to say, I know people are like, what's that to do with anything? When I talk to my daughters, and of course, you know how your kids are, they tune out. Sadly, they've been listening to this guy their whole life. But hopefully some of it resonates, right, Bootsy? Just little things. It's the little things, you know?
It will.
You know, you're like, da-da-da-da. And again, I don't necessarily specifically hit the person or the friend, because that then becomes something different, because that makes them, you know, their feelings and da-da-da. I come from this side, Bootsy, and hit them with the general thing. Hey, always remember, look at your friend's character. You know, are they doing what they're saying they're going to do? Are they treating you how you treat them?
Right.
Do they do things to you that you never do to them? How often do they do that? Do they do it all the time?
That's a great assessment.
Do they disregard your point of view? You know,
and your opinion and your
friends listen, you know, Do they put you in situations? How many times, Bootsy, have you been out with a friend or somebody and there's some ish going down and you're like, why would they put me in this?
Right. Right. Which is why I hang by myself a lot. As
Well,
as you have met people that I know, they'd be like, yeah, he just be chilling. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, I've learned that. But let me tell you where you are lucky at, Mr. Clark. Let me tell you where you are lucky at, sir. You, Mr. Marc Clarke, are lucky is the fact that you found somebody that was as passionate as you were in the same field, which is not really normal. The issue that I've had and other people is that I don't find people who are visionaries, goal oriented, and have an understanding of what it is to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. That, my friend Marc Clarke, is where the love gods have shined on you, spot a light with somebody that had understanding. Because I've had some great relationships, but I can really remember this. I told them what I wanted to accomplish and what I wanted to do in my life and what I thought it was going to take to be there. And they was like, yeah, okay, yeah, see you later. And I'm out. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
so it's not often that you can find somebody
that's true.
like fully, like, and I know you know this. People think what we do in media is easy. It is literally like rolling dice sometimes. Like it's not. It's really subjective. It's no real clear path. You got to always be prepared. Be ready for your moment. And if you're lucky, you'll have somebody who can encourage you and understand what you're doing while you're doing it. So that, my friend, is where Marc Clarke is probably the luckiest human being in the world, because I've had a lot of beautiful, pretty people who did not understand where I was trying to go. And if you're lucky, you're fine. You'll do a good job of conveying that to your potential partner, because that will help a lot of relationships, Mark.
And again, Bootsy, you have to be looking. So the example I gave about the young lady, she was a former girlfriend. Even though she had the flags, Bootsy, I was still willing to throw the dice, and that would have been a failure, right?
Massive.
So I already had the flags, but because she did what I did, and we did relate to that, and I was aware of her baggage. So here's the thing. I was willing to roll the dice and I knew she had baggage, but I was ready to take the package, Bootsy. But she did one last one that ended it all. And so, but that was God, right? And so that's why.
What was it? Hold on. You don't lead us down here. What was the last thing? What was the straw that broke the camel's back in that situation? Since you didn't walk us down here already, Mark.
Well, we had a long distance relationship, and the key to long distance relationships, people say they don't work. They can work. The key to long distance relationships, you have to have a plan, So let's say you're long distance and you say, okay, and then next year we're going to get engaged and get married, or we're engaged, we'll get married. You have a plan. And so I felt the distance was, and so then it got to the point where I was trying harder than she was, and the distance was getting us, right? So then it got to the point where in my mind, I was like, okay, it's probably over. Like in my mind, you know how you'd be like, and so one time we're on the phone, and long distance relationship, one of the keys is you have to inform each other about your life. It can't, you're not there already. So the lifeblood is to know what's going on.
The whole communication. And trust me, I'm the king of long distance relationships. But go ahead though.
So we're on the phone, Bootsy. Yeah, so anyway, da. What was that? Oh, I got a dog. Okay. So at that point, Bootsy, oh, you got a dog, but you didn't tell me you got a dog. You didn't just get a dog.
I don't know about that one, Mark. I don't know about that one. I don't know if that was a bad one, Mark. But
you got a dog, but I just found out about it, and you've been had a dog. Like, okay, you know what I mean? What? Like you had, and so that was the clue. To me, I felt like it's going to be a matter of time. So basically, in my mind, it's already over. We already got long distance. You getting dogs, ain't telling nobody about it. Probably got a man who brought you a dog, and he didn't say anything because of it. So we were, we're both.
You're letting your mind wander on that one, but go ahead.
Well, and so we're both on. We both did, media, and I used to check in every morning. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? And so I called one morning, and she never came to the phone. like an hour. She never came to the phone.
I know that feeling. Woo.
So now it was over. So in my mind, it's over. Now it's just a matter of time. So that was it. That was it, Bootsy. That was it.
No. I had that same experience. At
the end of the day, everybody says, and so as somebody who's very aware of all this kind of stuff, when everybody says, how did you find Allison? Bootsy, like you said, it was easy as pie. Come on, Bootsy. You know she fine. We already know that part. And then it was easy as pie. She's beautiful. She's amazingly talented. And when we started dating, we spent every Monday, Tuesday together until we got engaged. So Bootsy, the fine part and the talent part, that's a done. And then those Mondays and Tuesday sessions, hanging out, after 6 months, Bootsy, I'm all in. What do you mean? How do I let her get
sign
away?
up? Who do I sign up at? Okay,
where do I sign? Where do I sign, Bootsy? Oh, and the last part was, in addition to all the amazing part, right? My raggediness. I told you that story, Bootsy. When my car got repossessed, and Allison Seymour's at the used car place with me because my friend knows used car place, and I'm asking her what should I do. And the fact that Allison didn't bat an eye and stood by me, well, you know that bit. Yes, that's my man. Sure is. I was like, oh no. He said, where do I sign?
I'm gonna stick beside him.
I'm gonna stick beside him. Girl, his car got repossessed. I'm gonna stick beside him.
And people get cars possessed every day. And
where do I sign?
But also, please let everybody know this about her. And Lord knows, I don't know much about your relationship. Let everybody know how funny she is, though. People forget about her sense of humor, like at a high level. For everybody that's watching, please go look up this Allison Seymour video when she was imitating the Catch Me Outside girl on live TV. Catch Me Outside, how about that? That is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen on, like, y'all gotta know how funny Allison is with that, man.
No, she's fun. No, Dick Gregory said it best. He said, you should be a stand-up. Your timing is immaculate.
Yeah, like,
and that's true. That is true.
Hold on. She came to my program doing that. She was doing that around, like, and was like clowning me in front of the kids. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, her timing, like her.
Yeah. And again, and so at the end of the day, tomorrow, 7:00, father-daughter conversation. I'll be posting it tomorrow on tomorrow's show. So we'll wrap it up, Bootsy, man. Anything you need to share, in addition, I know spring is on the way. Your media program, Ward 7 and 8. Anybody who listens, have a child interested in media, even if they're not, being in Bootsy's program is a life changer. Get a little plug in, Bootsy, as we wrap up.
Yeah. Also, just let everybody know, SYEP, which is Summer Youth Employment .gov in Washington, D.C. if your kids are in the area. I had an amazing conversation with Cooley in high school. I tell everybody, if you have a 14-year-old, 14, 15, 16 high school student, and you really think that they want to go to college, that you think they want to major in broadcast journalism as a career, my program will be essential for them. We are partnered with Congress, where we work with the Congressional Award, where a member of Congress writes their letter of recommendation. They can do their volunteer hours. And the success of my program is the fact that they have congressional access. They'll be able to interact with people of all demographics, races, creeds, you name it. We're literally partnering up with Larry Miller, the CEO of the Jordan brand, who has an amazing book out. If you have not check this story out. His name is Larry Miller. The book is called Jump. He's Michael Jordan, CEO of the Jordan brand, but he's also the former president of the Portland Trail Blazers. We're doing something with him next month. So, if you got kids who is interested in journalism and you think it's something they want to do, and they get to meet people like Marc Clarke and Allison Seymour. So, even if you don't like me, you get to hang out with them and know them. So
that's a great opportunity. And again, shout out to the fathers, shout out to the daughters.
Absolutely.
The one thing I will say about as a dad that I think that men have to, we all have to understand, right? But I think men have to, I think by nature, men are competitive. Society kind of makes us that way. Maybe God made us that way. But one thing that I think was the key for me, Allison had an amazing father. You know what I mean? I'm talking about an amazing father. And a lot of times I see when guys, like situations like that, the guy tries to compete with the father in a sense.
Mhm.
Or what men get wrong, and what sometimes daughters get wrong. Sometimes the man thinks the daughter wants you to be just like her daddy.
Mhm.
And sometimes the daughter does make that demand, and she got that wrong.
Mhm.
Because he's who he is, and you're who you are.
Right.
And I was so in love with Allison's dad, and so just that I never compared myself to him because he was a giant. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Great looking guy, character, brilliant. He's the kind of guy that you could ask dad. That you ask dad every question about religion, theology, geography, world history, world politics, all that stuff. As you know me, Bootsy, you cannot ask me anything about any of that. So the beauty was I never compare myself to him. I could just be my best self.
Mhm.
And in being my best self, not only do we have this amazing relationship with nothing but love, I think I learned that, yeah, Allison didn't look for me for that. She got that in her dad. She looked for me
Mhm.
for other things. And I think sometimes, men approach when they have a dad like that, even dads sometimes, they kind of like be like, I'm going to be, I'm her hero. You ain't nothing.
Mhm.
Don't get caught up in that, guys. Don't get caught up in that. Be your best
Yeah.
self. And if anybody from the wife, daughter, to the husband, to the dad, to the mother-in-law, anybody who gets caught up in that, don't get caught up in it. Let that be their struggle, not your struggle. You know what I mean?
Right.
It'd be like me coming in, like Bootsy, your program. Like there are people who envy what you built there,
Mhm.
and they look at it like, well, I would have done it this way. You're right. You wouldn't do it this way because that's you.
Right.
I'm Bootsy. I run this program, and
And
until
I've had
somebody else runs it, then you
I've
run.
had to,
But up to
and I've
this
had to say
point,
that.
I got all Bootsy can be is the best Bootsy he can be. You can't be somebody else. I can't be your theory of what you want me to be.
Yes,
And to
sir.
be honest, as a husband, I'm in that boat. I would have loved to be the guy who was up to this point the breadwinner all these years, and I carried the family financially on my back. That's not who I've been. That's not who I am. That's not who I am. So I got to be the best person I am and giving what I can give. You know what I mean? And I think we all have to get to that point, right? Because
Absolutely.
trying to be something you ain't is just not going to work.
Yep. Yep.
And so
That's a great way to wrap it up, my brother.
and with that, let's wrap it up. And
See you tomorrow.
look at Kevin. Yeah, man. Tomorrow it is Thursday. Have a blessed one, everybody. If you're watching this in real time, thank you. If you're watching this at another time, thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. We're growing every day. Oh, snap. We got about 4 people who love us.